Adrian Holt didn't slow down when the black SUV screeched to a stop in front of the private hospital. He swung the door open and stepped out while the vehicle was still rolling. His phone was pressed to his ear, voice low and lethal. "I said shut the deal down. I don't care if the entire board disagrees. I want every contract with them terminated before noon." He didn't wait for a reply before hanging up. His jaw was tight, eyes cold. Employees waiting by the hospital entrance stepped aside quickly. Everyone in the city knew that expression. Adrian Holt was in a mood that could set fire to stone. A nurse rushed toward him. "Mr. Holt? Your appointment started 6 minutes ago." "Then we're late," he snapped, striding past her. She hurried after him. "Your doctor is ready." He didn't respond. His mind was already somewhere else, on the tension in his chest he'd been ignoring for weeks, on the fact that his assistant practically forced him into this appointment, and on the growing headache pressing behind his eyes. But nothing, not the failed deal, not the chest pain, not even the exhaustion, prepared him for what waited behind the exam room door. The nurse gestured at the handle. "Right through here." Adrian pushed it open. A stethoscope slipped from someone's hand and clattered onto the floor. His world stilled. She stood there frozen, her white coat half-buttoned, her brown hair pulled into a messy bun like she'd rushed into the room. Dr. Alina Hart. The woman who left him without a goodbye 4 years ago. The woman he hadn't seen since the night she disappeared. The woman he spent 9 months trying to forget, and 4 years failing at it. Her eyes widened with the kind of shock that didn't look rehearsed. She wasn't prepared for this either. For a moment, the room held its breath with them. He broke the silence first. "You've got to be kidding me." Her throat bobbed. "Adrian. He held up a hand. "Don't. Just do your job." Her eyes flickered, hurt, guilt, fear all tangled together, but she nodded and forced herself into doctor mode. "Please sit," she said quietly. Adrian moved to the examination chair, his expression unreadable. He looked like a statue sculpted from anger and ice. Alina picked up a tablet and tried to steady her breathing as she reviewed his chart. "Routine cardiac evaluation?" she asked. "Apparently," he said. "My assistant booked it." She nodded, then reached for a blood pressure cuff. Her fingers trembled slightly. She tried to hide it, but Adrian caught it. "Of course he did." "Something wrong, doctor?" His tone cut like glass. She swallowed. "No." She began to wrap the cuff around his arm, but her touch lingered half a second too long. He felt it, the hesitation. The familiarity. The sadness she tried to bury under professionalism. His pulse spiked. The monitor beeped, loud in the small room. Alina's eyes flicked to the numbers. "Your blood pressure is unusually high. Maybe the doctor is stressing me out." She stiffened. "I'm trying to help you." "You did enough helping already," he said coldly. Her breath caught, but she didn't respond. She moved behind him and placed the stethoscope against his back. The moment the cold metal touched his skin, memories flooded, her laughter, her warmth, the night she whispered she loved him, the morning he woke up alone. She pressed the diaphragm to his chest, forced to get closer. He could feel her breath brush his shoulder. She was trembling again. "Hold your breath," she murmured. He did, but the air between them stayed thick. When she stepped back, he grabbed the sides of the chair, grounding himself. He hated that she still had this effect on him. Hated that his chest burned at the sight of her. Hated that she could walk into his life again without warning and shatter every wall he built. She typed something on her tablet, but her hands shook so badly she almost dropped it. "Look at me," he said. She froze. "Look at me, Alina." Slowly, she lifted her gaze. There it was, the truth. The guilt. The fear. The something she never told him. "Why are you here?" she whispered. His jaw tightened. "You're the doctor. You should be asking yourself why you're here." She flinched, and he immediately hated himself for the sting in her eyes. But the anger had years of pressure behind it, and now that she was in front of him, it was boiling. He leaned back. "You left without a word. You disappeared. You didn't pick up your phone, didn't answer messages, didn't tell me what happened. And now, out of every doctor in this hospital, I walk into your room?" Her voice cracked. "I didn't know it was you. That's supposed to make it better?" She looked away. "I can't do this right now." "You're doing it," he said. "Unless you want to call in another doctor because you can't handle examining me." She stiffened again, the kind of stiffness that came from pride meeting pain. "No," she said. "I can do my job." She moved toward the ECG machine, trying to gather herself. But just as she reached to attach the electrodes, Adrian's hand shot out and caught her wrist. Her breath hitched. He didn't pull her close. He didn't stand. He didn't say anything cruel. He just looked at her, really looked at her. Her eyes glistened. His grip loosened. "Why did you leave?" he asked, voice low, raw. "Tell me the truth. The real truth." Her lips parted, but then a nurse opened the door abruptly. "Dr. Hart, you asked me to." "Oh, sorry." The nurse nearly fled. Alina closed her eyes, shaken. "We can't talk about this," she whispered. "We will," he said. "Today." She shook her head, stepping back, reclaiming her professional distance. "Please lie down for the ECG." Adrian complied, but his eyes stayed fixed on her every move. She attached the electrodes, trying not to touch him more than necessary. His heart rate jumped again. She frowned at the monitor. "This isn't normal." "I'm looking at you," he said flatly. She didn't respond, but her ears reddened. Then, right as she pressed the final sensor to his chest, Adrian's vision blurred. A sudden pressure tightened in his ribs. His breath hitched. "Adrian?" Her voice sharpened. "Are you dizzy?" He tried to wave it off, but the room swayed. "Lie still," she ordered, fear rising in her voice. "Adrian, look at me." He forced his eyes open, and she was right there, panic etched into her features, her hands on his shoulders, everything professional stripped away. And for the first time in 4 years, he saw it clearly. She still cared. More than she wanted to. More than she should. "Don't pass out," she whispered, shaking him lightly. "Adrian, stay with me." Darkness crept at the edges of his sight. The last thing he saw was her face, terrified, devastated, as she shouted for help. Adrian blinked slowly as the ceiling came back into focus. He wasn't in the exam room anymore. This room was brighter, wider, quieter, a monitoring room. A heart monitor beeped steadily beside him. He shifted, and pain tugged lightly in his chest. "You're awake," a voice whispered. He turned his head. Alina sat in a chair at his bedside, elbows on her knees, fingers tangled together like she'd been praying for hours. Her eyes were red. She had definitely cried. "What happened?" he muttered. "You fainted," she said softly. "Your heart rate spiked too fast. You were dehydrated, overworked, stressed, and apparently haven't slept properly in, what? A decade?" He tried to sit up, but she placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Don't. You need to take it slow." Her touch burned into him, familiar and forbidden. He studied her face. "You stayed." She swallowed. Of course. Why? The question was sharp, dangerous. She looked away. Because you scared me. He didn't respond, but something shifted in him. Anger still lived in his chest, but something else cracked through it, something old, buried, and unwelcome. He leaned back, exhaling. I'm fine now. No, she said firmly. You're not. She stood and adjusted a few monitors. Her hands were steadier now, but her eyes kept darting toward him like she was checking if he would disappear. Or collapse again. Adrian, you've been ignoring medical symptoms for months. Your blood work shows exhaustion. Your stress levels are. Stop, he said. She froze. For 4 years you didn't say a word to me. Don't get a sudden urge to care about my health now. Her chest rose and fell shakily. You think I stopped caring? You walked out, he said coldly. No note. No message. Nothing. Her grip tightened around the clipboard. I didn't have a choice. You always have a choice. Not when someone threatens to destroy you, she whispered. Silence. Heavy. Immovable. What? He asked quietly. She set the clipboard down, backing away like the walls were closing in. Please. I'm not ready. Adrian sat up straighter. Ready for what? To tell you everything. Then start with why you disappeared. Her breath trembled. I can't say it yet. Not here. Not now. He clenched his jaw. You owe me the truth. I know. Her voice cracked. And I'll tell you. I swear. But today. I just need to know you're stable. Stable? He scoffed. You think collapsing because you walked into a room is unstable? Her eyes softened painfully. I think we both know it's not me you collapsed from. His stomach tightened. Don't make this emotional. How can it not be, she whispered. You're the person I. She cut herself off, biting her lip hard. The person you what? He demanded. She shook her head, retreating into professionalism again. You need rest. No more emotional triggers. He almost laughed. You're the emotional trigger. That hit her harder than he intended. She flinched like he'd struck her. A knock came on the door, but Alina quickly stepped forward and blocked anyone from entering. Not now, she said sharply. The nurse backed away. Adrian watched her. You're protecting me? She didn't turn around. Always. The word slipped out before she could stop it. He saw her shoulders stiffen as she realized what she'd said. He sat forward, voice low. Alina. Look at me. She did, slowly, eyes shining with things she'd buried long ago. Tell me what's going on, he said. You're not ready, she whispered. I'm not a child. No, she said. You're someone people can hurt by coming after the people you love. His blood froze. What does that mean? Her throat bobbed. That's why I left. Because someone came after me, to get to you. A cold, violent stillness settled over Adrian. Who? She shook her head, tears filling her eyes. If I say the name, everything starts again. I can't risk that. His voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Alina, tell me who threatened you. She backed up until she hit the wall. I can't, she breathed. Not yet. He could see terror in her eyes, not fear of him. Fear of something bigger. This isn't over, he warned. I know, she whispered, voice cracking. A doctor entered then, an older man with a calm smile. Mr. Holt, good to see you awake. I'm Dr. Myers. Dr. Hart briefed me on your episode. Adrian didn't look away from Alina. Briefed you, or tried to hide the part where she almost passed out before I did? Alina's cheeks flushed. Adrian. Dr. Myers cleared his throat. Your vitals have stabilized. But I recommend staying for observation. I'm leaving, Adrian said immediately. No, you're not, Alina snapped. He raised a brow. You don't get to dictate my. Yes, I do, she said, stepping closer. If you walk out now, there's a risk of another collapse, and next time you might not wake up as fast. He frowned. She wasn't bluffing, he could hear it in her voice. Dr. Myers nodded. She's right. Adrian exhaled heavily. Fine. 1 hour. Then I'm gone. Alina pressed her lips together but didn't argue. Dr. Myers left the room. The moment the door closed, Adrian said, You're shaking. She looked down at her trembling hands and quickly hid them behind her lab coat. I'm fine. You're lying. And you're stubborn. He huffed out a humorless laugh. We haven't changed. Her voice softened. We have. In ways you don't know yet. He studied her. Then tell me. Her eyes glistened again. If I tell you everything, your life will change forever. Good, he said. I'm tired of not knowing why you left. You think that's the hardest part? She whispered. Adrian, there are things I've been carrying alone. Things that should have destroyed me. Destroyed you how? Emotionally. Physically. She paused. And in ways that should terrify you. Something in his chest tightened, protective, fierce. Alina, if someone hurt you. No, she said quickly. Not me. Not directly. He stood from the bed, ignoring the wires attached to him. She gasped and rushed toward him. Adrian, stop. Sit down before you faint again. He didn't listen. He towered over her, voice low and commanding. Who did they hurt? Her breathing hitched. He stepped closer. Who did they threaten? Tears rolled down her cheeks, fast and silent. Her voice barely came out. Someone innocent, she whispered. Someone I had to protect. His chest tightened painfully. Alina, who? She lifted her eyes to his. And for the first time, he saw something he never expected. A mother's fear. Adrian froze. A mother's fear. It hit him like a punch to the ribs, sudden, breath-stealing, impossible to ignore. He stepped back slightly, eyes narrowing as he studied her face, the trembling in her lips, the gloss of tears she kept wiping even though they kept returning. Alina, he said slowly, voice lowering to something almost dangerous. What are you telling me? She looked away, tears dropping to the floor. I didn't want this to happen here. Not like this. Then how was it supposed to happen? His heart hammered in his chest, steady on the monitor but pounding everywhere else. Tell me who you were protecting. Silence. She squeezed her eyes shut, as if bracing for impact. I can't. His voice sharpened. You disappeared for 4 years. You owe me the truth. Her breath hitched. I know. Then tell me who, he repeated, stepping closer until he could see every line of fear etched into her expression. Her hands shook. She grabbed the edge of the bed to steady herself. Adrian, I swear I'm not trying to punish you. I'm trying to keep you alive. Alive from what? His voice rose. From who? She covered her mouth as another sob slipped out, muffled and painful. And that's when the door swung open, again, and Dr. Myers rushed in. Mr. Holt, your heart rhythm is spiking. You need to calm down. Adrian didn't even look at him. Get out. Sir. Get out. The older doctor stiffened, glanced at Alina, then nodded and shut the door quietly behind him. Adrian stepped close again, lowering his voice. Alina, you're terrified of something. Or someone. And you think telling me will trigger it? She nodded weakly. Why would someone come after you? He demanded. Her fingers twisted together. Because of who you are. His jaw clenched. Who threatened you? She drew in a shaky breath. A man named Roland Creed. Adrian's blood ran cold. Roland Creed, his father's oldest enemy. A man known for taking down families, not just businesses. A man Adrian had personally exposed for fraudulent contracts 5 years ago, costing Creed hundreds of millions and putting him under criminal investigation. A man who vowed revenge. Adrian had forgotten all about him. But Creed hadn't forgotten Adrian. He found out about us, Alina whispered. He found out I was with you. And he realized the easiest way to break you was through someone you loved. Adrian's fists clenched. So he threatened you? No, she whispered. The word was barely audible. He threatened someone else. His throat tightened. Who? Her shoulders shook harder. She covered her face. Alina, he said again, more gently this time. Tell me. She didn't move. He stepped forward, carefully, and slowly peeled her hands away from her face. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Her voice came out in fragments. Adrian. I didn't leave because I wanted to. I left because I had to. Because I couldn't risk. A small knock interrupted her. A nurse peeked in. Dr. Hart? There's someone in the pediatric wing asking for you. Alina's entire body went rigid. Adrian caught it instantly. Pediatric wing? The nurse nodded with a warm, oblivious smile. Your little guy is asking for you. He's very anxious today. Alina closed her eyes in agony. Adrian stared at her. Little guy. Pediatric wing. Asking for her. Every piece snapped together like a grenade pin sliding into place. Alina, he said, voice suddenly hoarse. You have a child? Her breath trembled violently. The nurse blinked, confused. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you already knew. Leave, Adrian said without looking at her. The nurse backed out immediately, shutting the door behind her. The room fell into a silence so heavy it felt like it pressed the walls inward. He stepped closer. You have a child. Tears poured down her cheeks. Adrian, please. Is he yours? He demanded. She nodded, broken. He swallowed hard. How old? Her lips trembled. 3. 3 years. She left 4 years ago. Time punched him in the gut. His breathing changed. His muscles locked. His mind split open. Alina, he whispered, voice shaking for the first time in years, is he mine? She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Her silence was the answer. Adrian stumbled back like the floor had disappeared beneath him. His chest heaved. His pulse spiked hard enough to trigger the monitor. He didn't even notice the alarms. You had my child, he whispered. You had my child and you didn't tell me? She sobbed openly now, reaching toward him. Adrian, listen. I wanted to. God, I wanted to more than anything. But Creed. Stop saying his name. Adrian roared. She flinched violently. He'd never yelled at her before. Not once. Not even when they fought. He turned away, gripping the metal rail of the bed so hard his knuckles whitened. A child. His child. A son, probably. 3 years old. He missed everything. Every first word. Every birthday. Every moment. Because she left. Because she kept it from him. His voice cracked as he spoke again. You robbed me of being a father. No, she whispered desperately. I saved you. He spun around. From what? From losing him, she whispered. Adrian froze. Alina tried to breathe through her tears. Creed said if I didn't disappear, he would take the baby before he was even born. He threatened to hurt him. To hurt me. And to make you watch. Adrian's heart stopped in his chest. She continued, voice barely audible. So I ran. I ran to keep your son alive. And to protect you from a war Creed promised to start. The pain on her face was unbearable. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I'm so sorry. He stared at her, chest burning, mind racing. A son. A threat. A betrayal. A sacrifice. Too much hit him at once. He placed both hands on the sides of his head, pacing, breathing hard. Where is he? In the pediatric wing, she whispered. I had to bring him to work today. His babysitter cancelled. He gets anxious if I leave him too long. Adrian's heart twisted painfully. He took a shaky breath. What's his name? She closed her eyes. Aiden. He swallowed. Hard. Adrian Holt? She shook her head. I couldn't risk using your name. Creed had people watching everything. His chest ached. So what is he to you? She lifted her eyes, broken and brave. Everything. Adrian felt something inside him shift, something deep, fragile, dangerous. Take me to him, he said. Alina hesitated. You just fainted. Take me to him. She nodded slowly, wiping her tears. And for the first time in 4 years, she reached for his hand. He stared at their joined hands. Then tightened his grip. Alina led him through the hallway slowly, her hand in his, her steps cautious, like she feared the moment he reached the child everything would collapse. Adrian didn't speak. He couldn't. His chest was tight, his mind too full, his heart beating with a terrified kind of hope he didn't know how to name. He felt wires pulling at him from the machine still stuck to his skin, but he didn't care. He felt the aftermath of fainting still in his muscles, but he ignored it. All he cared about was the door at the end of the hall. The pediatric wing was quieter than he expected, soft pastel colors, murals painted on the walls, little shoes squeaking on the floor. A place he had never imagined himself in. A place he should have known 3 years ago. His jaw clenched. Alina paused at a smaller room marked with a cartoon sun taped to the door. Someone had drawn a little smiling face in crayon on the paper. Her breath hitched. He's inside. His heart slammed. Adrian reached for the door, but she placed her hand over his. Please, just remember he's never met you. He nodded once, tight, broken, determined. She opened the door slowly. Inside, a tiny boy sat on a small blue chair, hugging a stuffed astronaut. His curls were dark brown, Alina's shade, but the stubborn way they twisted was unmistakably Adrian. He had Alina's eyes, big, warm, curious, but the shape of his jaw, the little frown of concentration as he pushed a toy car across the table. That was Adrian. His heart dropped straight into his stomach. Aiden. His son. A little piece of him breathing in the same room and he hadn't even known. Mommy, the boy said, instantly brightening when he saw Alina. He scrambled off the chair and ran into her arms. She held him tight, burying her face in his hair for a moment, as if grounding herself in the only person she had left for years. Adrian stood frozen, staring, barely breathing. Aiden peeked over her shoulder at him, wide curious eyes. "Who's dat?" Something in Adrian snapped loose. Alina looked at Adrian, seeking permission, or maybe courage. Adrian's throat tightened. She knelt and lifted Aiden so he could see them both. Her voice was soft, trembling but gentle. "Baby, this is Adrian." Aiden studied him quietly. "Hi." Adrian swallowed hard. "Hi." Aiden tilted his head, sizing him up with a seriousness far too advanced for a 3-year-old. "You're big." A laugh escaped Adrian, raw, stunned, aching. "So are you." Aiden grinned, proud. "Mommy says I'm growing like a rocket." He held up his stuffed astronaut. "See?" Adrian nodded, his eyes burning. "I see." Alina watched them, tears gathering again, but this time they weren't from fear. Aiden leaned closer to her ear and whispered loudly, "Mommy, he looks like me." The world stopped spinning. He didn't realize he was crying until he felt a tear fall. Aiden blinked. "Are you sad?" Adrian shook his head quickly. "No. No, buddy. Just happy." Aiden seemed satisfied with that answer and wriggled out of Alina's arms, toddling toward his toys. He shoved a second toy car toward Adrian. "You can play too," he announced. Adrian stared at the toy. Something inside him cracked wide open. He knelt, too fast, dizziness clawing at him, and took the tiny red car from Aiden's hand. Their fingers brushed. The boy giggled. "Vroom," Aiden declared, pushing his car across the floor. Adrian pushed his own car next to his. "Vroom." The sound nearly undid him. Behind them, Alina covered her mouth to hold back a sob. Aiden looked up at Adrian again, thoughtful. "Are you Mommy's friend?" Adrian froze. Alina stiffened. He looked at her. Her eyes were pleading. "Don't say it yet. Don't scare him. Don't break him." Adrian nodded slowly. "Yeah, buddy. I'm a friend." Aiden accepted it easily. Children didn't need definitions. They felt truth instinctively. And Aiden kept looking at him like something about him made sense. Like somewhere in his little cells, something recognized its origin. Minutes passed in silence except for the sound of tiny wheels and soft giggles. Then Aiden crashed his car dramatically. Boom! Adrian smiled, truly smiled, for the first time in years. And that smile broke Alina completely. She stepped outside the room, wiping her tears quickly. Adrian noticed. He stood slowly, ruffled Aiden's curls. "I'll be right back, okay?" "Okay," the boy chirped, already absorbed again. Adrian stepped out. Alina stood against the wall, forehead pressed to it, eyes closed. Her shoulders shook silently. He approached her slowly. "Alina." She shook her head. "I'm sorry. I didn't want you to meet him like this." "I don't care how it happened," he said. "I care that I met him." She opened her eyes, tears spilling again. "I didn't want to keep him from you. I swear I didn't. Every day I thought about calling you. Every birthday. Every time he said a new word. Every time he asked why he didn't have a daddy." Adrian faltered. "He asked that?" His voice broke. She nodded. "He thinks every man in a suit might be his father. He stares at them." "I had to lie. I told him his daddy was gone. Adrian blinked slowly, pain slicing deep. Gone? I couldn't tell him you didn't know he existed. He dragged a hand down his face, overwhelmed. Alina. I should be furious with you. I know. I should walk away. I know. But I can't, he whispered. I can't walk away from him. Or from you. Her breath trembled. Adrian stepped closer. We have a lot to fix. And I'm not pretending any of this is simple. But I'm not leaving. Not again. She looked up. You mean it? Yes. His voice didn't shake. I want to be in his life. Every day. Every morning. Every night. I want him to know me. I want him to know I'm his father, when he's ready. A sob escaped her lips. I'm scared, Adrian. I know. He touched her cheek gently. Me too. But we'll handle it. She leaned into his hand, vulnerable in a way she hadn't allowed herself in years. Creed isn't gone, she whispered. He's still out there. Adrian's expression hardened. Then I'll deal with him. You can't fight him alone. You're forgetting something. His voice dropped to steel. He threatened my family. Her eyes widened slowly at the word. Family. Not son. Not Alina. Not the boy. Family. She touched his chest lightly. We'll have to be careful. I will protect both of you, he vowed. Legally, physically, financially, in every way. Her eyes softened. You're different. No, he murmured. You just brought me back. She swallowed, overwhelmed. Adrian. I don't know how to do this. I've been alone for so long. He stepped forward, pressing his forehead gently to hers. You're not alone anymore. Her breath shook. Then Aiden's little voice echoed from the room. Mommy. The car broke. Alina laughed through a tear. Adrian's chest warmed. He glanced at the door. Can I go to him? She nodded. He likes you. He should, Adrian smirked softly. I'm his dad. She smiled, tired, full of hope, deeply relieved. They walked back inside together. Aiden looked up at them with a big grin. Fix it? Adrian knelt, taking the tiny toy car. I've got you, buddy. He clicked the wheel back into place. Aiden gasped, impressed. You're really strong. Adrian ruffled his curls again. You have no idea. Aiden crawled into his lap without hesitation. And Adrian Holt, the man the world feared, the man who built empires, the man who had never bent for anything, melted. Completely. He wrapped his arms around the boy gently, like holding something sacred. Alina watched them, her son in the arms of the man she loved, the man she ran from, the man she returned to without meaning to. And for the first time in 4 years, she breathed fully. Aiden giggled and pressed his forehead to Adrian's. I like you. Adrian's voice broke as he whispered, I like you too, Aiden. Alina blinked away another wave of tears. Slowly, carefully, she walked over and sat beside them on the floor. A family. Finally. A beginning, not an ending. And Adrian knew one thing with absolute clarity. He wasn't losing them again. Not to Creed. Not to fear. Not to fate. He held his son tighter, reached for Alina's hand, and whispered a vow meant for both of them. I'm here. And I'm never letting go. If you enjoyed this story and want more emotional, dramatic storytelling, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment about what shocked you the most. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Until next time, this is StoryVerse TV.